So hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So what I have here today is the 2024 Nissan Almera VL Turbo CVT. So I've been anticipating this Nissan model for quite some time now. So remember, I did a full review of the VL N Sport and VE models. Link of those will be in the description down below. I've also done it here at Nissan Show Mandaluyong. I'd like to thank them so much, and to Miss Joanna for making this review possible. So what do you get now with this facelifted Almera? Well, besides just the face, so let's start here. So you get a new V-motion grille over here. There's a lot more gloss black and chrome all around the grille, but I'll be honest, only I prefer the older looking one. Just my 2 cents. And then here you have crisp LED lights along with your fog lamps too. The ground clearance remains the same at 135mm, which is among the lower ground clearance in this subcompact sedan category. So sorry, apologies for the background noise. I'm literally outside here in the busy street. So anyway, back with this Almera. So this two being the top of the line model, you get a two-tone black roof over here. But hilariously though, they didn't decide to block it off here too. So the silhouette, I'll be honest, doesn't mimic like that of a convertible vehicle. You see it now, right? Anyway, so here you have LED repeaters too, along with 360-degree camera. So this is what has been added to with this facelift model. So on the side profile too, the silhouette of the Almera remains the same. So you get 16-inch wheels up front. But however though, what they did not upgrade sadly with this facelifted model, at the rear you still have drum brakes. But although I did say in the pre-facelift model review that I did love the driving dynamics, so I cannot wait to drive this again. So speaking of driving dynamics, so being an Almera, this is one of the most unique engines in this class of subcompact sedan. So this one is powered by a 1-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder engine that produces 100 horsepower and 152 Newton meters of torque. And this top-of-the-line model is mated to a CVT transmission. So same case like with the pre-facelift model, if you get the manual variant of this Almera, which is still available, thank God, you have 8 Newton meters more torque than the CVT model. So I really hope we can drive that really soon. So being an Almera 2, as I said, it's one of the most unique engines because this is a turbocharged 3-cylinder engine, the only one in its class. And 2, as you can see in the shot, there is a lot going on, hence being a turbocharged engine. So here now at the rear of this Nissan Almera, sorry, it's a tight shot. I'm just here in the car park and I'll rush it a bit because the heavens have opened already. So still being the facelift model, the rear looks exactly the same, even the LED taillight assembly. However though, I do like the new addition of this Nissan logo over here. The bumperettes is almost the same too, and then it still carries the carbon fiber trim over here. And then open the boot up, it is too exactly the same. So the total space here is at 474 liters, and then underneath you have a space saver donut type tire, which is good to know. And then unlike with the previous generation VL, the non-N Sport variant, if not mistaken, has now 60/40 folding for the rear seats, which is actually pretty handy because some of its subcompact sedan competition don't even have that feature. So yeah, that's about here too with the rear of this Nissan Almera. Let's check out the interior. So here in the interior of this all-new Nissan Almera, well, it looks exactly the same like with the pre-facelift model. However though, there are just minute details that are new here in the interior. So you have your new animation here in your instrument cluster, digital instrument cluster on the right side. The speedometer remains analog, and then here too you have the same infotainment system, new animation too once you open it up. So new too with this Almera, this finally has Android Auto. Finally, let Android Auto fans rejoice like me. So as well, everything here remains exactly the same. Even the sound, when you transfer to like audio, your information, and then Bluetooth, it still sounds like that Windows XP cursor. And then your camera, your 360-degree camera, okay, the quality so but hey, at least there is. This is one of the few cars too in its class that has this. So here in the steering wheel too remains exactly the same too. So you have your volume controls on the left side, and then finally on the right side you have cruise control functions that was not present at all in the pre-facelift models. So here in the door card, yeah, plastic here and there, but at least you have leather soft pads here for your elbow with blue stitching. And then hilariously, like with the pre-facelift model, you have the carbon fiber-ish trim here around the window switches. And then here in the left side of the dashboard, you have that blue leather pad again. And then further down below, you have one functioning button only for your auto start stop function. So I'm very curious what these buttons are for in other markets. And then going back to the instrument cluster, the left side is completely digital, and there's a lot you can do too. So like for your driving aids, TPMS, speedometer, fuel economy, and other important information. So this leather pad around the dashboard now is all blue. So in the previous VL and Sport pre-facelift model, I remember this being black and the lower vans having what, cream colored materials here. And then glove box. Okay, this is one of the biggest glove boxes I've seen in a sedan or in general. So actually that's a very big selling point for this Almera, that glove box. Anyway, so below the infotainment system, you still have your single zone climate control, and then further down below you have a 12-volt socket, USB port, aux cord, and then finally a wireless charging pad. So that was not present too in the pre-facelift model. And then here around in the center console remains the same. Around in your gear shift, it's all gloss black. You have your engine start stop button there. So I literally got lost again where the start stop button was. And then further behind, you have two cup holders, a manual handbrake, and another new thing here too with this new Almera. Finally, you have a central armrest and a center console box. I mean, it's puny, but at least there is. And then two new layout too with the seats. It's a two-tone scheme, black and blue. And then the seats actually tend to be more on the sportier side of things without sacrificing comfort. I mean, it's really soft, and then look at the bolstering. So yet again, I can't wait to drive this. Your rearview mirror is also new, and then above here you have your light controls, their halogens, and then part of this Nissan Connect services package is this SOS button right above here. Sorry, this is not your ejecto C2 CAS button, okay? This is literally a Nissan SOS button. So Kako Tiona of autodeal.com.ph literally demoed this feature, so I'll just leave in the link in the description down below. So he demonstrated it perfectly. And then sun visor, this is one of the biggest I've seen in a subcompact sedan or in sedan in general. So you have a ticket clip holder with a vanity mirror, no light though, and sadly they don't extend. I mean, look how big it is. It's literally the size of my head already. So too, the rear seats look exactly the same like the ones here in front. They're still leather, the same color scheme. But finally, now you have a central armrest there with two cup holders. And my nitpick again with this Almera, behind this driver's seat, there is no map pocket, but there's one behind this right front passenger seat. And then in the middle, you have one USB port only. Unlike the previous generation Almera, there's no air conditioning vents whatsoever. But knowing this is a Nissan, so they are known for having one of the best air conditioning systems out there. So literally less than 5 minutes in the blazing sun before it had a downpour for no reason whatsoever, this car got cold in less than 5 minutes. So again, back with the rear, so space there in the back too, okay, exactly the same. My feet room, my knee room is excellent. However, knowing the Almera has a sleek design, the headroom is not that great. But although I fit, I'm 5'4" by the way, but maybe taller people might tend to struggle there in the back. Sitting in the middle, okay, same story, just as comfortable, but the transmission tunnel is huge, but simply you can just put your feet up. And I recommend you can fit a third passenger right there without any issues, since this is actually a wide car too. So yeah, that's about it here with the interior of this all-new Nissan Almera. Let's go for a drive. So finally, driving the all-new Nissan Almera. Well, first impressions, it feels exactly the same, and as well, this is one of the few subcompact sedans in its class that does not have driving modes whatsoever. So but at least you have the L mode in case you want to go uphill. So I usually just leave it in D when I driven to with the older Nissan Almera. So two first impressions. Okay, comparing with the pre-facelift model, yes, it's a 3-cylinder engine. The most common characteristic is that you feel a lot of vibrations here and there. Yeah, you can feel it somewhat here in the pedals, and then here sometimes in the steering wheel. But I only notice when you are at idle. But once you are moving, okay, it feels like every other sedan in its class. So I don't have any issues with the driving so far, and the engine response too. So the transmission, again, I also praised too in the pre-facelift model on how this drives. So here just short burst with it. Right, so I did say that too, it acts like a conventional automatic transmission rather than a CVT. So let's explore it later on at faster paces, but here, just around here in the city, okay, and reach is actually pretty good. So I would say it's on par or even the best one in its class of some compact sedan. So I'm not sure if it's just as good as the Geely Engram, but this one is a notch better. I mean, look, the cabin is so quiet. I mean, hear loud motorcycles passing here and there. Don't hear it that much. And to the ride is really good. Okay, the suspension is not more on the sportier side of things, but rather it's tuned for comfort. I mean, already going over here to metal sheets on the road, uneven pavement here and there. I mean, what that? As well to running on eco tires. I don't hear much of tire noise at low speed. So let's find that out too later on again when we try this at faster paces. But and then steering feel, yeah, it's pretty light too. It's not too light nor too heavy. It's just the right amount. So I don't mind the steering feel of this too. Then here, just 30 kilometers per hour. Yeah, so it's really quiet. So to the price of this, I forgot to mention it earlier, this Almera VL top of the line model stands at 1,149,000 pesos. So actually it's a little bit steep comparing again only with the Honda City and some of other top of the line models in this class of subcompact sedan. So my case will still stand like with the pre-facelift model. This is actually pretty underrated and I must say a pretty underappreciated subcompact sedan. I mean, it drives great, it's fuel efficient, and yeah, I mean, it's comfortable too. So let me know in the comments down below why this is such an overlooked vehicle. I mean, of course, there are other Japanese cars that do the job too and actually more affordable than this, but yeah, for this one, this is, yeah, I would say really underrated, I have to say. And to being a 3-cylinder engine, I can't wait to explore it later on. Yeah, this is what's nice too. The 3-cylinder actually sounds good, and yet again, being the only turbocharged in this segment, yeah, it's really peppy to drive. Then here, more on even pavement off-road, and then yeah, that's what I like too with this Almera. Like, same with the pre-facelift model. The transmission tuning is really good. And then there's not much turbo lag too. And there's not even much throttle delay too, not to my surprise. Yeah, I don't know why. This is one of the best driving cars in its class. Even though this is just, what, 100 horsepower compared to the 120 of the Honda City. Which I said that's one of the best driving dynamics in this class. But this one, yet again, it's pretty underrated too, even in terms of the performance. So as well, the auto start stop feature is on. Okay, so the engine, yeah, okay, the engine just restarted just now. So now the auto start stop function is actually pretty good. So I'll just floor it now. Okay, it's pretty smooth to the the transition. Here, U-turn test. Okay, pretty good too. The handling is pretty sharp, and yet again with this average steering feel, okay, I like this too. So you can hear a bit too of turbo whistle. I've not heard that too before in the pre-facelift model. Then here, let's go for a stop for a moment, and then let's flirt. The brakes too, pretty sharp too. Actually, the driving dynamics more or less the same like with the pre-facelift model, but the star of the show is definitely this 1-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. And then from a standstill, there's just a little bit of a delay, but once you get going, wow, yeah, still the star of the show, not to my surprise. And two, why I prefer this against the competition, I must say, is its fuel efficiency. Yes, the others can do at least almost 10 kilometers per liter in this city, but this one, with just driving around Shaw Boulevard, it already says here 11.7 kilometers per liter. Pretty impressive for what this is. That's why I always considered this Almera over the competition, because of its fuel efficiency alone, and yet again the turbocharged 3-cylinder engine. And then here at idling, okay, once the engine warms up, there's not much of a shudder anymore in the engine. Yes, earlier I showed you the engine bay. You can see the shudder of the engine, but yet again, it's not so bad. Even here in the cabin, when you feel it like here in the pedals. So here, the engine is off. And then once I get going, I want to see how smooth the transition is. Oh yeah, and it is really fast too, on how it how the engine kicks back to life. So okay, very good so far, Nissan. So driving this Almera a bit more, yeah, I kind of want one now. Of course, you all know me, I will pick the manual transmission variant. However, I did find the NT level a little bit more expensive. So it starts at 843,000 pesos. So remember, you only can get the Nissan Connect services for this VL variant. But yet again, you all know me, I'm a very old school kind of person when it comes to cars. So I will be very happy with the manual transmission. So hopefully there will be one day I'll be able to drive the manual transmission Almera, because yet again, like what I said earlier, it has 8 Newton meters more torque than this CVT variant. So got me intrigued on how will that drive. So hopefully that variant will be as fun as this. So there's one more test I want to do. So let's go here in the back or on the Shaw Boulevard to even more uneven pavement off-road. So here just already are over what, unfinished concrete. Yet again, being a Nissan Almera, it's really comfortable. So I would say too, this is actually one of the more comfortable subcompact sedans in its class. Although it has one of the more sportier engines in this segment too, which I find the combo really hilarious. Then handling, body lean, it's not so bad too. And brakes again, yes again, despite having drum brakes at the rear, okay, I don't find any issue with the brake feel whatsoever. It's a little bit on the high side, but yet again, I'm used to that kind of brake feel. Then here over humps, yes, despite only having 135 millimeters of ground clearance, it's not so bad. And then overtaking, wow, very easy. So I really can't wait to have a lend out of this and test it on faster roads and on the twisties, because I know for sure I'll have fun driving this. So little nitpick only, I wish there was an update with what, paddle shifters or manual mode here on the gear shift, but I don't see the need for it. I mean, this alone is good. Wow. And then going over higher humps, I did notice there's a little bit of a suspension tad, but yet again, it's not so bad. And the suspension is more on the softer side of things, but it's not to the point it's too bouncy here and there. So let's try it one more time. And I like too with this CVT, it kind of simulates what it's changing gears. So I praised that too in the pre-facelift model. And then final time, the worst part of road here in this area. There, so you can hear a bit of the suspension tandem, but it soaks them up pretty well. I love this engine. So that concludes my review of this all-new Nissan Almera VL Turbo CVT variant. So I'd like to thank everyone here again at Nissan Show Mandaluyong Auto Hub, to Miss Joanna and to Sir John over here who assisted me here in this test drive. So hope you guys like and subscribe, and I will see you with more future car reviews and hopefully the manual transmission of this new Almera. Bye bye.